Hi there, welcome to Homekeepers. You come right on in, my friend. So good to be with you today. Please grab yourself a cup of tea or whatever is your choice and take a little break and stay with us, okay? It's going to be a really good program, and I'm so glad you have joined us, and appreciate it when you tell your friends about us. I've mentioned this on the program before, but we get a lot of mail, and also we email recipes to people who request them, and I would say 90% of the emails that come back to us or requests through the mail, at least 90% have some nice comment about the show, and we really do appreciate that more than you could ever know. So thank you for being there, and we will do our best to stay here for you and bring you the best of the best. And we have the best of the best today. Come on, everybody on camera. Deborah Ray is back. This woman is so busy, but I'm glad she carves out a little time each month to be with us. And she has been known across the nation as the First Lady of Health. And I know people who are close to me, like my sister and people like that who watch the program, they love Deborah Ray. And I've mentioned more than one time, I've never ever put a question to her that she didn't have an answer for. And this is really going to be good today because we're going to talk about the brain. And scientists are finding out more and more and more about this wonderful mushy thing that requires fats that's inside of our skull. This is a recent Time magazine. Then the headline is the Alzheimer's pill. Talks a lot about how they are making headway with this horrible, horrible illness. And also, I might be looking at my notes more than usual because Deborah sent me these, and this is all on the brain. And also I want to talk about marijuana because for my wonderful citizen friends in Florida, it will be on the ballot this November. The citizens of Florida voted it down one time, and now it's back. And we can compare what's happened in Colorado since they embraced it. You know what? They got a whole lot more potheads than they had before. So we want to talk about that because it very much affects the brain. So it's going to be a good program. And before I join Stephanie, we're going to have BLT, twice-baked potatoes. So I think you know what a twice-baked potato is like. Well, this is going to have bacon, lettuce, and tomato in it. Trust me, it's good. We've tasted it. Before I join her, though, I one more time want to offer you Beauty from the Inside Out. This is by my good friend Angela Hunt and Laura Kallenberg, and it's a wonderful, wonderful book. So many of you have already requested it, and it deals with the outer beauty that so many women, going back to Queen Esther, probably farther back, are interested in that outside beauty, but they combine it with the beauty from the inside. And I'm very, very glad to be able to send this book to you for that gift to the program of at least $12. I bet that's the greatest bargain in all of history. And you can use your credit card, 1-800-229-0059, or write to us at Homekeepers, and that's Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida, 33758. And we will be glad to send it out to you. Hello there.
Hi there. The greatest bargain in all of history. That's a pretty good bargain.
Yeah, I think the orders will pour. I want to tell you something interesting.
Okay.
We have offered Dave Ramsey's book, and you're very well acquainted. It changed your life.
Yes.
Really. Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover, so I was ordering some. And I usually got them from another source, but I had a problem, so I went straight to the Ramsey organization. And you know, Dave Ramsey's against credit cards. He won't take one.
Oh, really?
No. And I said, look, I pay mine off every month. I said, yeah, but they said he's got to live what he preaches. And
so how do you pay?
Well, I don't have a debit card. They would take a debit card.
Oh, okay.
And a check.
Okay.
So they said, well, you can route a check. I thought, come on, take my credit card. You know.
Just take my money. No.
So I sent him a tracking thing on my check. It never did work, so I finally had to mail him a check because I'm not going to take my credit card.
Wow.
Isn't that kind of impressive?
That's very impressive.
Yeah, yeah. So
we will take your credit card, though, for the $12 from the book.
We will. We'll take your check. We'll take your gold.
But pay it off at the end of the month, okay? Don't pay interest on a $12 book.
Have you ever taken gold in and sold it?
I have many years ago. I worked at a dental office, and we had somebody come in. And, it was our own gold. I mean, it wasn't, you know, we weren't stealing from, but yes, we did.
Well, you know, not too long ago, Meredith, my daughter, said she was going to go sell. She had some old stuff broken like I did. I said, well, I'll go with you. So I go through my stuff, and it was old things and broken pieces of this, that, and the other. I took it in, and she wanted $300 or something. I said, well, I'll sell the gold and give her $300. If I get it, I'll give it to her.
Yeah.
I got $1,200 for that junk.
Yep.
And I said, you're not getting $300. You're not getting $1,200, baby. Yeah. So anything you send to us, we'll take it.
Well, okay.
All right.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Okay, we have baked these potatoes.
Yes. And what you're going to do is you're going to carve out the inside for me, get the flesh out, and you can put it right in this bowl.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to mix together mayonnaise and cheese and bacon. And these are oil-packed, sun-dried tomatoes. And I think that's what makes the whole meal.
Yeah, so that's the bacon and
BL.
Tomatoes, and then we got lettuce.
And yes, and then we have
that goes on the top.
Yep. So, and this is green onion that we cut up.
I think my daughter made the best twice baked potatoes I've ever had.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of the occasion, because she made the flesh of the potato a lot more moist. A lot more moist, and it was good.
Okay, and then I'm going to put some cheese in here.
But what we're fixing you, my friends, is a meal.
Oh my gosh, and we tasted it, and it was delicious.
Yeah, we did. Sometimes we get carried away with our own
Well, it's
cooking.
like 7 o'clock in the morning. And
Yeah.
I hadn't eaten breakfast yet, and I was hungry.
So
Arthelene just works me to the bone in the mornings.
Oh, but we have fun.
Oh, yes. Yes, we walk around here. It's quite amusing sometimes. The two of us, we kind of just, we're trying to put together usually 3 recipes for the day. So the two of us are just we're walking around just trying to figure out what we're doing, and it's early, and she hasn't had her tea yet, and I've only had 1 cup of coffee,
and you don't want to push me if I have my tea, especially if I got a knife in my hand.
She will hurt you, people.
Yes, she will.
Miss beautiful, nice Arthelene Rippy is not nice Arthelene Rippy without her tea.
Not without my tea.
She's still nice. She's just a little more quiet. She keeps the anger inside.
They keep the knives away from me. Yeah. That's what they do.
So we're just going to mix this all up. So that was mayonnaise, cheese.
I wonder who thought of this.
Bacon. Oh, I don't know. Somebody, you know what this is? Probably one of those, let's see what we have in our refrigerator, and let's put it together. BLT. So the insides of the potatoes, the sun-dried tomatoes, bacon, cheese, onion.
And twice baked, they're really not that much work.
Yeah.
There's not much to it.
And actually, we didn't even bake these. We microwaved.
Yeah, and it's...
just to get that soft
it truly is a meal.
Center. So then all you do is you fill them up, put them on the pan, and throw them in the oven.
And how long do you cook them?
Was it 12 to 15 minutes? And that's just about what I cooked. These were really big potatoes, and that's just about what I cooked them in the microwave.
This is stuck. This is still hot.
Look, is that delicious?
Yeah, and you put a little bit of lettuce on it.
There you go. There's your L.
What makes the BLT. Just sprinkle them on there. And you've got a meal. You definitely have a meal.
Yes.
And that would be a great lunch, too.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
So.
It smells so good. It's that tomato, I'm telling you, that oil-packed dried tomato really adds to it.
Oh, it's hot.
Hot.
My, it's good.
You need to get a little piece of lettuce in there.
Oh yeah, those tomatoes.
Is that good? That is delicious.
I believe.
Let me talk with the food in my mouth.
I believe we have Arthelene's lunch for tomorrow.
That is so
About
good.
that one.
Yep.
Very tasty.
That's a super easy, super delicious.
That would be easy to transport too. You know, like if you're going on a picnic or something.
Yep, wrap them up in cellophane. That's it, or aluminum foil.
So
Yummy.
They're called twice-baked BLT potatoes.
Make sure you have the BLT in there because we've had twice baked potatoes before.
Yeah, we have had them.
BLT, so make sure you say BLT.
Yeah, that's what captured my attention. Okay, if you want one, email us. That's the quickest way, but write to us if that's your way. We'll be glad to get it out to you. And now, if you haven't met Deborah Ray, you're going to love her. Stay with me.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, just write to the address on your screen, or you can email your request to arthelene@rippy.org.
Well, if you haven't met Deborah Ray, she is a regular on Homekeepers, and we are honored that she is. Comes on about once a month, and we talk about health issues, and she has a long, long history in this. Your first husband, who is in heaven today, but he's the one who got you on the track of health. You were not a very healthy person when you met him.
No,
is that correct?
I was a Crohn's colitis patient, subjected to large amounts of mercury in a hospital laboratory. So actually I had mercury poisoning and did not know the questions to ask about that. Thought that what he was doing was far outside the realm of what we did in medicine, and said, I'll show you on me, and it worked.
I wonder if you'd be alive if you hadn't met him.
Right.
And what did he do for you for Crohn's?
For Crohn's, it was a long process. You know, getting the bad fats out of my diet, getting some good fats in each day. As a a young female, so many of us say this to fats when the good fats are absolutely essential to help quell that inflammation. Making sure that foods that I was sensitive to. Again, I ate a lot of diet foods, so the saccharin I was terribly allergic to was actually causing the lining of my intestine to slough. And that mercury exposure in the hospital laboratory does the same thing to your intestinal tract. So now knowing what to look for.
Yeah, and there was a time when we thought saccharin was our savior.
Exactly. Yeah. And of course, we still eat it today.
And so he basically saved your life.
He did.
And he is in heaven today, and you have married another wonderful man, and I think you saved his life. And we'll quickly go over that. Some of you have heard about it, but he was diagnosed with
2 forms of lymphoma, twice
cancer
in 10 years. We did a fanny pack of the IV vitamin C. We did so many nutritional things with the Young Power Shake.
And you also personalized the chemo.
Right. We actually sent a sample of that lymph node to a lab that tested to see what natural and what, from the realm of chemotherapy drugs, what would work with that cancer.
And basically, just on a normal scale, he sailed through it.
He did.
He sailed through some chemo treatment and never really lost his energy. Didn't lose his hair, did he?
Didn't lose his hair. Didn't have the chemo brain. Continued to work throughout both chemotherapy and radiation.
Describe the chemo brain, because we're going to talk about brain.
That's what too many people don't ever go back to work after chemotherapy, because chemotherapy actually crosses that blood-brain barrier like compounds like mercury do, and they don't have the same cognitive function because those brain cells are very vulnerable to the chemotherapy. They don't think as well after they've had the chemotherapy.
Well, that just individualized effort with was it a lymph node that they looked at?
Right.
Because it seems to me, just this layman on the outside, they get so much chemo and so much radiation, and this person probably needs it different than this person. So.
Right. Of course, now they're talking about actually taking the DNA of your cancer cells, should you be diagnosed with cancer, and using a tailored drug approach. The beauty of this actually chemotherapy testing is they'll test natural substances as well as with the drugs, so then you have the choice to make with your doctor what to use, what's best for your cancer.
I think we're living on the edge of something so exciting. And one thing, and maybe we could discuss it someday. I mean, I'm not qualified, but I know that you find all the research, and that's stem cells. I think that's the wave of the future for diabetes.
Absolutely.
And I know 2 people who've had basic knee replacements with their own stem cells. There was no surgery, and it's your stem cells, your DNA, and that's exciting stuff.
It certainly is.
I think it's going to become common. Do you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. More and more doctors are embracing, and patients, once they get that information, why go through a total hip or, you know.
I was going to say 2, but I've had 3 friends
Really?
who've done it, yeah. Okay, we're talking about the brain today, and before we get into all of the good information she sent me, I want to talk a little bit about this law we're going to vote on.
Yes.
Whether or not to accept marijuana. Now, I have read, and I know a friend who says that using what's called cabanas or something,
Right, the active ingredient in
the active ingredient in marijuana,
Right.
is very, very helpful for some types of cancer and seizure control.
Right.
Is that true?
That is true. That is true. But there's a far difference with smoking it and crossing that blood-brain barrier, and we don't know, you know, are the effects of the brain on the brain permanent? We really don't know that, and there's so much research, like Dr. Peter Breggin out of Johns Hopkins University, his books about your drug may be the problem. We're seeing pregnant women for the first time use some of these psychotropic drugs, and they're actually seeing it change the brain and change it permanently. And there are many
Of the newborn?
of the newborn. And they're also suggesting that that may be possible with people who smoke marijuana. And of course, we now know that that's not just your body. You pass that down through generations. So you see it in your children, in your children's children. So we're looking at generational changes from being exposed to the smoke and the chemicals in it.
When they take it for, say, for cancer or for the seizure control, is it smoked? Do they smoke it, or is it anything they ingest?
It comes in various forms, but the states that have legalized it, the state of Washington, the state of Colorado, do make it available to be smoked. And of course, it has.
There's a lot of folks smoking it that don't need it. That's the problem. So Floridians, that's coming up on your ballot. You better be informed. Right now, they say there'll be 5 different places or businesses that can raise the marijuana. Ho, ho. If people were truly honest, and if a doctor only prescribed it where it's really needed,
Right.
but we don't see that.
No.
It's not going to happen. I was born and raised in Colorado, and I have a great affection for it. And all they do is brag about how much revenue it brought in.
Right.
It's always follow the money. I have a girl on here every month about education, and with this Common Core thing coming out, follow the money. Goes to the publisher, marijuana grower, or whatever. So our whole sense of value is off there. But I have been asked on 3 different occasions, just walking around, one time at the driver's license office and another one, to sign a petition
Right.
to get this on the ballot. And I said, no, thank you, and I'll tell you why. And the reason being, if a middle schooler or someone like that smokes it,
Right.
it can give them permanent brain problems. Is that not correct?
Absolutely, absolutely, to that developing brain. And of course, then we don't hear the statistics about people that are harmed by, smoking in and driving, and some of the accidents that causes. You know, it's a gateway to other substances. So,
And in Colorado, they're coming over the border from other states now to get their pot. And also, their accidents are up, which is no-brainer. Of course they would be.
right.
Okay, we want to talk about the brain. Alzheimer's was formerly diagnosed after death.
Right.
But I understand there's now imaging that can show what is plaque or whatever.
Right, the amyloid plaque that we see in Alzheimer's patients and other brain diseases. But thanks to, for example, in Great Britain, because of the National Health Service there, their medical records are actually computerized, and they're seeing much higher rates in Great Britain as they are in this country of some of the neurodegenerative diseases, more Alzheimer's, more ALS, more Parkinson's patients. And of course, they're asking the question why that could be, and it goes back to lifestyle. It goes back to inflammation. We get lots of the bad fats in our diet. We don't get enough of the good fats. Lack of exercise has a tremendous role to play. And one of the more interesting things that I ran across, not only taking a look at what food can actually help feed your brain, but stress as well has an extremely detrimental effect on your brain. But the new studies coming out of Dr. Andrew Newberg's lab at Thomas Jefferson University School of Medicine shows that prayer, not only just belief, but belief in the one true God, can have an amazing positive effect. They say it's as effective as exercise in promoting good brain function throughout your lifetime.
And this is a scientific
These
research.
are scientific medical school
Wow.
doctors doing this research that actually they can take a look at atheists and people of Christian faith, see that their faith lights up similar areas in the
Oh my
brain,
goodness.
but it's only prayer and belief in that one true God that has an unmistakable effect on our brains.
You're giving me goosebumps.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
just
that's
like,
goosebumps.
yes.
Yeah, because this is really an interesting article, but it's about the pill. It's about a pill. There are preventive things that they're learning. However, according to, it's a Dr. Frank Longo, who this is in this article, that he really has cured Alzheimer's in rats, cured it on 3 different occasions, but can't make that leap. So
Right.
they're busy. They are working on it. Now, according to this article, the University of Montreal, that high-fat feeding can cause impairments in the functioning of the brain circuitry. So that's Alzheimer's, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And some of these neurodegenerative diseases, we're seeing it earlier ages, we're seeing it rates that we never did before. So it's a bit scary to think that we used to think, oh, you're just getting older, what do you expect? Actually, we're seeing measurable changes in people's brains, and we're living longer. We're seeing more of that.
Yeah, you know what's so sad is my grandchildren,
Right.
probably all your grandchildren, eat fast food. My generation, we sat down at the table every night, and my parents never bought potato chips or anything. I mean, that was such a treat.
No, we would never do fast foods.
No.
My mother didn't indulge, soft drinks were forbidden. Potato chips, all of those fried carbohydrates.
What's it going to be in the future?
Well, they actually shows not only not getting enough good fat, but that bad fat, because your brain is more than 60% fat, can actually change the whole structure of your brain. And the research is I mean, it's sobering to think now in a country that's so blessed that 1 in 7 children either has a learning or a behavior disorder. And if you take a look at the work of Dr. Walter Willett at Harvard, he said we changed the fats in our diet. That was the most significant thing in science of the last century. We changed the fats.
Change the fats.
And it wasn't for the better.
So you don't want animal fat. You want vegetable fat like a coconut oil or olive oil.
Right. And you don't want to heat that fat.
Avocado.
Right. Avocado, macadamia, good nuts, any of the fresh fruits and vegetables have some of that good fat in it.
Yeah, I'm pretty good there. I eat a little handful of nuts every morning at my desk, and avocado. I have about a half of one every day, and then I do my Young Shake, which has got the good oil in it. So now exercise at middle age may keep brain bigger later in life.
Right. Right.
I'm pretty good at that too. I exercise a lot.
About that magical age of 40. If you've been sedentary up until that point, you need to get with it. The good news is you can get with it, but it's that age of 40 that predicts how your brain is going to age in your 70s and 80s and 90s.
And we're not talking about running marathons, are we?
No, we're just talking about regular activity, walking, I mean, whatever you like that you'll be consistent with. Scripture tells us we need to be active.
It really does. And Jesus walked everywhere.
Yes.
We see him on a donkey once, and we see him in a boat a couple times. And that walked from city to city.
Right.
And he is definitely the great example. I do exercise at least 5 days a week.
Right, but you take a look at that whole Mediterranean diet that comes out of Scripture, and you take a look at that culture, and of course the diet is very important, but now they're telling us that that exercise is as important, and doctors that really know should be actually putting it on a prescription pad, because the science is that profound that it really deserves to be a prescription from your doctor.
Let me tell you, friends, there's a reason that there's a big freestanding building with Walgreens on it, and across the street, a big freestanding building with CVS on it. They're not making that money selling lipstick.
Right.
They're making that money from pharmaceuticals.
The average person over the age of 60 in this country takes at any one time during the year one of 12 different medications. I'm not taking any. I know
I'm
you're
not taking any.
So somebody's taking ours.
Somebody's, yeah.
But we're taking more and more prescription medications. Of course, when you mix them, that's a whole nother, you're an experiment in yourself, and it has, it has effects on your brain, and not often for the positive.
And I wonder really how many doctors really look at that cross section
Yes.
of the, maybe another doctor gave you a prescription that he doesn't know about it. But we only have a couple minutes, and a lot of these notes are on blueberries.
Yes.
I love them. I'm going to start having that every day now.
Dr. Jim Joseph, Tufts University, just a wonderful personality. His research shows that blueberries actually stop the aging of your brain. He wrote a whole book on it. Any berry helps, but blueberries in particular, those anthocyanins that give it that distinctive color, actually stop the aging of the brain.
Yeah, and it is really quite an article just about how blueberries affect the brain. And I have a young shake almost every morning, and
Frozen blueberries.
Blueberries go in there, and boy, it's so good to know. And it takes me back to Genesis, the first chapter. This shall be food for you, and that was what was growing in that garden. And it hasn't changed. The Word of God doesn't change. Well, I'm anxious for you to come back next month.
Thank you.
We always love having you here, and it's such a delight to bring these kind of people to you and really educate you on some important things. So I hope you'll exercise and go buy some blueberries, okay? And join me next time. Remembering there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you. See you next time.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.